It's good morning, Tami Lou Castillo. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Congratulations. You've got a book out now. It's called The Mould Maker. Tell us all about it.
The Mold Maker, yes. So the Mold Maker is a memoir. It is takes place in the U.S., California in the 1970s. It traces my childhood basically, and it traces my parents' divorce when I was young and the challenges my mother faced with raising four kids on her own. And the central link that ties everything together in the memoir is my relationship with my father. So, over the course of many years, my father implodes, basically. He spends many years harboring this secret. And through time, he just kind of disappears. And the whole memoir is about kind of my search for getting back to that father I had when I was young.
Yeah.
And late in life, my father comes out as trans. And this was the long held secret. And over the course, at that point, my dad was 63 and she transitioned to Connie. And it's about how our relationship, what happens to our relationship once my father becomes Connie and accepts who she truly is.
Yeah.
So it's about, it's my honest, I wrote it from a place of integrity and
Yes.
honesty. And it's really, I had it in my mind the whole time about, having it be a human story, a
Sure.
story about acceptance and forgiveness and family and transformation
Yes.
and, what it means to be human. That
Yeah.
was really ultimately my ultimate goal. So, yeah, just kind of exploring those themes of identity and unconditional love and family bonds and yeah, some kind of deep stuff. But yeah, I try to tell it. I think ultimately it's an uplifting story.
Yeah, it
So,
is. It definitely is, Tammy. And Tammy, when I read the book, which was a few weeks ago now,
oh,
I put myself in, I was like, I put myself in you and felt, the healing and the acceptance and the journey. I know it's your memoir, but yeah, I was like, I'm Tammy in this book, on the journey, living it. It's really well written.
oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. That was, I think in my ambitions to tell this story, what I really wanted to do is to show what
Yes.
my experience was, and people can come to their own decisions about whatever it is they want to decide. But
Yeah.
but I just that was the whole point was, I tried very hard to just show people my experience.
Yeah.
So that's very rewarding to me that you felt like you were looking at things from my perspective.
Yeah. And Tammy, is this your first book?
Yes, this is definitely
Yeah, well
my first
done.
book. Thank you. I previously published a book chapter.
Yeah.
That was when I was a learning skills advisor at Monash Uni, and it was a collaboration between libraries, La Trobe University and Monash. But it's a scholarly
Sure.
book chapter, and I come from a background of teaching high school English,
Yeah.
and I've always written. I wrote as a child. I wrote poetry, and I was a prolific letter writer. I'd always wanted to write a memoir,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it came back full circle. When it was after Connie passed away, that the kind of the impact of her whole life hit me. And so, yeah, the idea popped into my head a few months, excuse me, after she passed away, that I could combine my love of the written word and people's stories and always wanting to write a memoir and telling Connie's story. which she was an amazingly remarkable and inspiring person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it took me 10 years. I
Yeah,
spent 10
wow.
years, I spent a lot of time learning to write
Yes.
memoir, and it's definitely a different brain muscle. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I tried to do my best, but it's been a 10-year journey, and
Yeah.
it's from the idea to being published. So it's been a 10-year achievement. And
And
it's
look,
definitely the only
Tammy,
book
you
I've
asked,
written.
you already answered my next question. I was going to sort of ask a bit about you and a bit about, but then tell me about the writing journey. So it took 10 years, but are you a daily writer? Did you write, put this away for months, then come back to it, or were things painful in writing? Like, what was that process?
Oh, great, great. Thanks for asking. I could never write every day. I knew that, I've always tried to do that, but I knew for me it was unrealistic. People
Yes.
say, oh, well, get up and write for the first 2 hours, or get up every morning and write
Yeah.
for an hour. But for me, life, it doesn't, the
Yeah.
way I lived, it never worked that way. And I was raising a son and working.
Yes.
So what I did was once I made a commitment to write the memoir, I had the ability to work part-time.
Yep.
And so I started working part-time, and 2 days a week were my writing days, and I wrote all day.
Yeah.
I had
Yes.
that very common 1,000 word a day. And sometimes it would take me, a few hours to write 1,000 words. Other times it would just spill out to
Yeah.
2,000 words. And when I was doing that generative writing, I tried to write in the first half of the day. It would usually take me to lunchtime, but it was a labor of love. I mean, I absolutely loved it. It was, I never, there were tears shed, but it wasn't like a traumatic
Okay.
experience. It was more kind of cathartic and poignant because I, the beauty about writing memoir is you have the opportunity to look back through your life
Sure.
through hindsight and lived experience. And you can realize things
Yeah.
that you never actually realized before because you took the time to think through it carefully and reflect on it.
Yes.
And so it was a gift, really. It was a gift I gave myself. And it was lovely.
Hmm.
So that was usually, but it didn't take me that long, maybe a couple years. That probably sounds like a long time for people. A couple years of writing part-time,
Sure.
during the week. And then I spent a lot of time editing. I took a memoir course, and I read a lot of memoir writing books, but the editing was quite substantial.
Yes.
And so I added a lot, I took away a lot, I fretted a lot about it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of editing along the way. And yeah, but I still kind of kept that same practice of 2 days a week.
Yes.
And then through time, during COVID, there were times when it was very difficult, and I would have to just kind of park it
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks
Sure.
and then come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes I would print out. That was quite fun
Yeah. Okay.
to actually, part of the editing process would be to print it out. And if I was going somewhere, I could take those printed chapters. And I did that a lot. And it was quite, yeah, a different process, thinking
Yes.
process to
Yeah.
typing when you're writing
Yeah.
and handwriting,
Yeah.
and then printing out, a hard copy and editing from that.
Yeah.
But I never really um, you know, I never had writer's block
Okay.
or anything like that.
Yeah, look, I think it's fascinating the different ways, or particularly first-time authors, yeah, dive into this process and the reality of it. For some, it is locking themselves away. For others, it's a process you go through over time. But tell me, so in light of that, would you write again? Obviously, you're not going to write about Connie, another memoir. Would you write, like, have you fallen in love with writing? What's it been like since the book's out? How are you feeling?
It's very exciting. I feel like I'm back to work because I retired 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many things to do. And I'm pushing my brain muscles in different ways, like
Great.
trying to promote the book, which
Yeah.
is a whole other ballgame.
Yes.
And so I'm learning a lot and doing a lot of things, which
Yeah.
feels very jobbish to get the word out about my book. And it's only been out since June 19th. So to me it
No.
feels quite new.
Yes.
Um, and I do love writing. I've always loved writing.
Yeah.
And I feel, I'm still in a writing group and I might toy with shorter pieces,
Hmm.
shorter nonfiction pieces, the essay. I feel like I'm still very much in the
Yeah.
honeymoon period of publishing.
Yes.
So I can't really, it's hard for me to think
Don't,
ahead.
and don't just enjoy this time. I mean, I ask that because, if there are future work, I'd love you to come back and share any future work as well. Tammy, if we're watching or listening anywhere in the world and we're curious about the book, we're curious about the story, we're curious about you, are you on socials? How do we
Yes.
connect with you? Share that
Okay.
with us.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for asking. I'm on Instagram
Yes.
and Facebook, but Instagram I think is really the author's social. But there's a few different ways to
Sure.
find out more about the book. So I have a website.
Great.
It's under my name, so
Yes.
TamiLouCastillo.com.
Yes.
And on my social on Instagram, it's the same. It's Tami Lou Castillo author.
Great.
And it's a public page, so you can find that
Yeah.
there. If you would like to know more about the book, if you like interested in
Yeah.
reading about the back book cover or possibly purchasing it, you can Google the Mold Maker um, on you
Any
can
of the
Google it and it'll
searches.
come up.
Yeah.
But
Well, tell
basically,
me what I'll do is I'm going to put in links in the show notes here
okay,
to make it easy for anyone to connect
sure.
with you on Instagram, your website, as well as a link to where to purchase the book. Tammy, if you do write again, you are welcome to come back. I loved being present, reading your memoir and Connie's story, and I hope others are curious for that as well. But Tammy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thanks for reading my book.
Cheers.
Cheers.